In today's video, we are going to set up and discuss the Goldshell HS-Box Mini ASIC Miner, which mines SiaCoin and Handshake. Today's video is sponsored by the team over at Coin Mining Central. Coin Mining Central's team specializes in supplying some of the most sought-after crypto mining and ASIC miners in the industry. Regardless if you're building your first crypto mining rig or beefing up your ASIC mining farm operations, Coin Mining Central has you covered for all your crypto mining hardware needs. Check them out at the link down below in the video description. Thanks again to Coin Mining Central for supporting the hobbyist miner community. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Huge shout out to the team over at Coin Mining Central who sent me my first Goldshell HS-Box. This is the Handshake edition. It also mines SiaCoin. Now, while we open this up, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit more about why I'm actually excited about getting this. So first off, we all love mining hardware. It's like Christmas for anybody that has an opportunity to open these up. And we have a few of these mini ASIC miners from Goldshell, and I really like them and I've become really fond of them. And the reasoning behind that is the fact that they are easy for anybody to pick up and use. I mean, you plug them in, you do a little configuration, and off you go. They work, they're stable, they don't need a lot of maintenance, and you don't have to tinker with them, you don't have to overclock them. They just work. And you can kind of put them anywhere. They're quiet, they're silent, they're simple to use, and they don't put out that much heat. Now, what I really do like as well about something like this, which is the SiaCoin and also Handshake miner, to do one or the other, is the sheer fact that we're diversifying our portfolio. So I am a huge fan of diversifying all the different mining coins that we're using. Holy cow, look at the size of this power supply. That's insane. I like the fact of being able to diversify and kind of mine a little bit of everything. You know, that's the really nice thing about crypto mining is you're not locked into one thing or the other. There are boatloads of different types of cryptocurrency out there and algorithms that you can mine, which gives you so much opportunity to go ahead and speculative mine or to mine into things that you're hoping will blow up one day. And this is a great example of that. So Handshake and SiaCoin, they're not huge coins out there. They are worth something, and they do have a decent amount of track record behind them. So it's not like you're mining something that is going to be here today and gone tomorrow. These things have been around for quite a while. Side note, we're not going to be using this massive power supply. But that's really why I like getting into these little mini ASIC miners, because they're not insanely overpriced, they're not insanely expensive, and they give you an opportunity to set them and forget them. And then it's kind of my version of speculative mining, as I said. So Goldshell Mini ASIC HS-Box. Goldshell's been coming out with a ton of these recently for all different types of them. I have the mini Doge miner that we have. I'm hoping to get, I actually have a few of them. I'm hoping to get my hands on a few of the 𝐏𝐸𝐫 ones that are out there as well. And let's see, what else is there? There's also, so we got the 𝐏𝐸𝐫, which is the KDA box. You have the Dogecoin miner. You have the 𝐶K box, which mines Nervos. The LB box, which does library. And then finally the HS-Box, which, as we talked about, does Handshake and SiaCoin. So today, let's go ahead and get this. We got this unpacked and good to go. We're not going to be using the massive power supply that we were talking about. Let me show you what I have planned to do. So I've heard some horror stories on these. So not only is the plug wrong, but I've also heard some horror stories about using those types of power supplies. So what I'm going to use is something that I'm using right now with a bunch of my other miners, and that is a HP server power supply. In this example for today, for our testing, we're going to be using the 750 watt power supply. We have a breakout board that we're going to be installing right on there. Nice and easy. And then we have it's actually a longer cable too. This is a 16 gauge, 6-pin or 6+2 on one side and the other. And this is going to be used for powering from the power supply to the actual Goldshell HS-Box here that we do have, and it's 16 gauge. So it is able to properly go ahead and provide power. And then how this is going to end up looking is we're going to plug into our breakout board here. And then on the back side of our miner, gosh, this cable's so long. On the back side of our miner, we have our port. Bam, good to go. So that's going to go ahead and give us power. And then the nice thing is on the back of these is you can not only go with Ethernet if you're interested, but you can also go with wireless. So, I mean, honestly, you could really put these things anywhere in your house. They only use up to roughly right around 233 watts. So you don't need to be crazy concerned about where you put these. You should be able to put these in any room and run them off of your traditional 120 volts with your traditional plug. So now that my cable has a mind of its own here, is floating around everywhere, we got everything that we need here. So my next step is let's go ahead and get this thing plugged in, powered up, and let's set this up for the very first time and see how we go about setting this up to mine either SiaCoin or Handshake and decide which one we want to mine. Okay, guys, so we have gone ahead and found the IP address of our device. If you use at home like an IP scanner, free software tool, or if you're a little more tech savvy and you log into your router and you look at your DHCP clients, you can find these devices. They're pretty easy to find. I always rename them after I find them. This one is it always comes up, these miners, as QSX. Just not sure what it stands for, but it's easy to find. So you go to the IP address and bam, this is exactly where we are. So you guys can actually see it's hashing already, but it's hashing to like their default factory wallet. So somebody's making some sense off of us at this point in time. So we can see that it is not in English. So in the top right-hand corner, you can click the flag and go down to English and bam, there we go. Now what we want to do is we want to unlock the device. So we're going to click unlock and admin's filled in for our username and the password it tells us. The initial password is 123456789. So that's what we're going to set. So type it in and then you'll hit unlock. And if you type it wrong, it yells at you. There we go. Perfect. We're not going to save it. So now we're logged in. So now we can go ahead and make changes to it as we see fit. If you go over to system, when I log into a device, I always want to change the password. That's like the first few things I want to do. So go over to system and you can find a few things here. You can, one, if you want to set it to DHCP, I do an IP reservation on my router, so I don't need to set the device at all here. You can set that up. You can set up a static. You can set up DNS configurations. You can also configure it for wireless. I run all my devices off of wired, but if you're interested, come on in here and set it for your wireless, and then you can put it wherever you want. Finally, the admin password. I recommend you come in here and change it. It's a good rule of thumb with any piece of mining equipment or computer equipment for that matter. So come down to current password and you'll type in the 123456789, and then you'll go ahead and type in a new password twice and you'll click change. Once you click change, it's going to prompt you to log back in again. So come on in, type in your new password and hit unlock. And bam, there we go. We've updated our password. We've set up our network configuration. Now it's time to look at the mining tab. So on the left-hand side, we're on the mining tab and you can see right now it's actually going to someone else's address there. So we're going to come in here and we're going to hit remove because, hey, we already spent the money for your device. I don't want to give you any more free money in that regard. Our next steps here is we can come down to the bottom and you can pick the algorithm that you want to pick or that you want to mine. Do you want to mine Handshake or do you want to mine SiaCoin? Do your research, decide on the one that you feel is best for you, and then proceed forward. For today's video, we're going to be using Handshake as our example. So we've selected that at the very bottom there. And now we need to go ahead and set up not only the pool, but also our miner. So come up to the top right to add, and then select a pool that you're interested in setting up your miner. I'm going to go ahead and actually use F2 pool. So we're going to click on F2 pool. It's going to fill in the information for us. And now we need to go ahead and set up the miner name and password. Now, you do need to go over to F2 pool. You do need to create an account over there. And then you're all set and ready to go when it comes down to filling in your miner name and your password. I'm not going to go into those details fully, but there's an entire link right here for mining tutorial that will bring up an entire mining tutorial for you on how to go about doing this. So feel free to go ahead and check it out. Once you've gotten yourself set up on F2 Pool, jump back to the video and I'll show you how to finish this up. Okay, so it was actually easy for us because we actually had an F2 Pool account already. Once you start to get into these mini ASICs, F2 Pool definitely becomes one of your best friends. But take a look at the different pools, figure out the one that fits your mining style and your interest, and go with that one. So we're set up on F2 Pool. It was really easy. We just loaded it up. We created a worker name and a password, and we added it into the pool settings. Easy enough. URL, worker name, password, done. Once you do that, you just go ahead and click add like we did, and bam, look, the shovel is green. That means that we are now set and ready to go, and should we start mining in the next few minutes? Okay, so we've been mining for about 20 minutes now. As you can see, our average is about 235 gigahash is actually what it's doing right now on Handshake. Love it, gigahash. If you see this dip, you can see the big dip here. That's when we swapped over our wallet and the miner and everything like that. So you can see that that's why there's a big dip there in the graph. Now you always want to jump over to your pool. So if we jump over to the pool, F2 Pool, you can see here that you can see that, oh, great, it's up and running, our worker 001, and that you can see what our hash rate is, and then it gives you some averages like 24-hour, but and so on and so forth. But this stuff won't really stabilize out on our pool for a couple of days because it's taking into account, like, we've only been mining for 20 minutes, so it's all over the place in that regard. But I'm glad it's showing up on the pool. That's great. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now, if you go over to the revenue tab at the top, if you're on F2 Pool or whatever other pool you're on, I know F2 Pool for a fact, it'll take a few hours before you start to see the revenue tab actually start working properly. So don't get concerned like, oh my gosh. But the nice thing is, come in here like a few days later and you can take a look at what your revenue is, when your payouts are going to be, and kind of what your profitability is per day, per week, per month, and that'll give you a better idea as to what you're making with Handshake. Granted, you know, it's not worth a ton, but the nice thing is I totally view this as a speculative mining journey. All right, so we are set up and good to go. We're mining Handshake now, which is awesome. So I thought something fun to do would be to, you know, we talked about heat, and honestly, these things don't put out much. So we have our little, this is a surface infrared thermal gun. So if we put it right on the front here, it's telling us we're at 71.4. If we go ahead and turn this thing around, put it on the back grill, just to give us some estimates, 96.4. So it actually isn't even actually putting out like, oh, there we go, 82. I actually got up inside onto the heatsink with my thermal gun. The heatsink that's in there is 95.2. But when you actually hit it to this grill on the back side, 83.1. I mean, you could take your hand on the back side and stick it there. It's warm, but it's not bad. It's not super hot, which is really, really nice. So that's going to go ahead and round things up for today, guys. A huge shout out to the team over at Coin Mining Central for sending me the Goldshell HS-Box. I am excited that we're mining something new, something different for me. We're diversifying our portfolio. We're a little bit into that speculative mining curve with our HS-Box Mining Handshake. Well, guys, go ahead and check them out down below. I'll put a link for Coin Mining Central. Give them some love. Pick up some other hardware if you guys are interested. Tell them the Hobbyist Miner sent you. Well, guys, thank you guys very much for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.